Okay, what is up, guys? Today we are going to be talking about the Silk Road, not the drug website. If you go in another video, but if you want to look at that type of stuff, but we're going to be talking about the actual Silk Road, and the Chinese and the Russians are planning on actually rebuilding the Silk Road to rival US world hegemony, which is going down anyway, but this is just an extra boost to it. This will put trade back into the advantages of the old world, instead of having to rely on the new world. Because a bit of a history lesson here for you. This was all believed to be the world. East Asia, the Middle East, North Africa, and Europe. None of this sub-Sahara Africa existed yet. Nobody knew where Australia was. No one knew where the Americas were to this direction. So everyone thought the world was just this. And obviously with Russia, the Ural Mountains were here, so people used to actually think, so you couldn't get to America that way either because of the mountains, so people literally thought the world started here, went all the way down here, and ended here, and just with a little central bit here. But then, what's it called? The Ottoman Empire came, and they rose to power, and they took Constantinople and changed the name to Istanbul, because it's not because they were any more better than the Europeans. It was simply because all the stuff came from China, and they were the first to get handguns and gunpowder and sulfur and weaponize it to break down the medieval walls of Constantinople and to take it over and to invade it. And what they said is, okay, this is now the edge of the Silk Road. We are not exporting, we are sanctioning Europe, and we are not, everything from cinnamon, spices, rum, tea, we're not giving it to them. We're sanctioning them because they were at war with them at the time of the Crusades. So this economically drained Europe, and Europe was in big trouble here. And obviously with the Ottomans being right in the edge of it, they were the gatekeepers, and everything was done in camel caravans, you know. So, and because the Ottomans controlled all the camel routes, because this is all desert here, meant the Europeans had to discover new routes. So Vasco da Gama discovered that if you go off of Europe, and if you keep going down south, you discover a bunch of mainland called Sub-Sahara Africa, and you can get access to India. Also, Columbus thought, well, okay, we've had one first great success, we'll go this way now. And they got thinking if you went this way, they would end up this way. But what happened was a miracle, because they discovered the Americas, which is here on this side and way over there on this side. So obviously when you can now go all the way around here to get to India, and you can go all the way out here to get to China using America now that you've discovered, and you've got Australia down here. It literally meant this one singular route was dubbed useless, because there's so many ways you can go around it now, and this put trade in the power of marine. That's why the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th century, it's all full of like ships, sail ships and all that, because the camel caravans were dubbed useless, and people were now using marine fleets because a boat can stack up more things than a camel can. So let me just show you a picture here quickly. So yeah, they used to be like that. Goods used to be delivered like this back in the old ages. But then, and obviously, like in the ancient desert texts like the Quran, you would hear stories about them raiding the camel caravans and taking the silver and the gold and hijacking them and stuff. So even back then, people were still trying to take control of the Silk Road, but when the Silk Road became dubbed useless, it all became about naval navigation. I know a lot about sailboats because I've been in one. I've been inside one. This is not the type of sailboat. This is like a modern getaway holiday sailboat. Something like that. Yeah, so then okay, that camel picture, just imagine that, and now imagine this. Obviously, you can put more spices, herbs, cinnamon, rum, gunpowder in this boat here. Although it is riskier going into sea than it is to land, but it was all about Russian roulette back in those days, and it was a success, so sometimes it's good to take risks. So that put trade into the European order, and now America now runs things because now we are still in the marine domination still controls the way of trade. So like I said, everything you order from Amazon and eBay, it's all coming from, United States or something. All the stuff you get in the shops is all coming in these cargo ships. But the Russians and the Chinese have decided now that we're going to go back to our old and ancient traditional roots. And we are going to rival sea trade with land trade. So now we're going to use these huge cargo trains, to go through the desert, Central Asia. And so all your eBay, Amazon products all coming into train instead of sea, through boat. And all your products you're buying in Tesco. And it's all going to come through China, and it's all going to travel through into Russia, through Turkey, the Middle East, and then into Europe, totally cutting America out. So it means Europe will now have to rely on Eurasia again, like it did in the past, which I think is more important. This is why America is trying to destroy the central plane of this railway route. That's why they're trying to destroy the Middle East. Because they fear this railway being built, because it's going to destroy marine trade. A lot of people talk about oil, they talk about the real estate, they talk about colonization and the opium and the drugs, but they don't give this one, they don't ever talk about this plan. So this is why the Americans are in the Middle East, another reason why they're in the Middle East. So yeah, they're gonna have cargo trains, huge big cargo trains. They're gonna go through Eurasia. It's all going to be powered by the golden dinar to rival the petrodollar. Gaddafi came up with this idea. That's why they killed him, unfortunately. Because the US doesn't have gold. Does it even have a single piece of gold in its reserve, Federal Reserve? It's all paper. So the old world order wants to get back at the new world order by going back to using gold-based currency instead of the petrodollar paper. So, and there's just another plan I wanted to show you. Cairo to Cape Railway. The British Empire had this idea, which I think is really good to connect the Silk Road with. Obviously, these are the British East Indian colonies. They took the entire Indian coast of Africa. So they were planning to use the Nile River, huge river that flows down into Lake Victoria. So, because you can use boats as well for the Silk Road, they used boats to get into. We can use a more marine area as well. We've got marine to play with as well, so to rival the transatlantic world order. So you've got the Suez Canal here that was built by the British in Egypt to connect Europe into the Mediterranean Sea into the Red Sea, which connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Indian Ocean. So instead of going all the way around Africa like the Portuguese and the Spanish did, the British just... That's why they went to war with the Ottoman Empire, so they sort of got back at the Ottomans for taking Constantinople. They went to war with the Ottomans, broke it up, created all these different countries, allowed this canal to come through, and yep. So we can even, with the Silk Road going this way, we can even create a naval force, you know, going this way into Europe. And we can even use the canal to get into Egypt and then put stuff on cargo boats and then put the cargo boats all the way down into sub-Sahara Africa, into Lake Victoria here where it starts, into Uganda, and we've still got the railway going along with the river, so just put the stuff from Lake Victoria, put it into the continuing railway, and put the railway into Cape Town, and that's how you get your Cairo to Cape. So yeah, I think it's a really good idea. I think it should be encouraged. I think it would destroy US world hegemony. It would put the multilateral order back into the old world, unlike the new world. So I fully support this idea. Hopefully this project gets completed. It may take some time, but who knows. Anything to rival the transatlantic order. I fully support it, as long as they don't become themselves, you know. So yeah, the Silk Road, that's a bit of a history behind it. The Cairo to Cape Railway, Suez Canal, look it all up. So see ya.